So welcome back to my channel. This is Gamer Dom, and this is a quick sort of beginners, newbies introduction. I won't say guide because I'm not going to run through all of them, but an introduction to mods that are available to use on World of Tanks. Now, what's a mod? Well, a mod is effectively something that gives you more information to help you play the game efficiently. So it can be things like telling you what damage you've received, what damage you've given out, how good the enemy team is, and so forth. Now, which mods are allowed and which mods are not allowed is something of a tricky challenge. So the sort of official inverted commas line from Wargaming on which mods are allowed are ones that do not give you an advantage. Now that's fairly clear when you get to some of these auto aim bots things that basically aim and fire your gun for you, or at least aim your gun for you and always hit somewhere on the enemy tank where the gun can penetrate, and always do some sort of critical hit to your vehicle, knock out some crew member every single time. Now they're clearly giving you a huge advantage over the enemy team and are not allowed, and if you're caught using them you can have your account banned. You can be banned and your account suspended and taken away from you. So it's very the risks of being caught using it are fairly slim, but Wargaming have certainly tightened up on the illegal mods. So the war packs, the auto aims, the other mods that have things like laser sights, so they'll predict where the tank will be when it's moving, and so you don't need to do that sort of thing. It does it automatically for you. Other things like will remove the terrain from the map so that you can see, you know, your enemy tank is sitting behind a nice bush thinking they're safe, and the enemy's using a mod that removes that bush for them, and therefore they are effectively sitting in the open and get taken out. So all those sort of things, as I say, those that give a very clear advantage are illegal, and you will be banned if you're found using them. And as I said just a minute ago, Wargaming have started to tighten up on mods and illegal mods. You'll notice with some of the upcoming changes to the game, if you look at the new test server for instance, there are an awful lot of things that used to be available as mods built into the game now, and I rather suspect, and I have nothing to prove this on other than just, you know, experience I guess, is that since they are starting to incorporate a lot of the most common mods into the game as standard features, they may well get to the point where they ban all external mods because you don't need them anymore. So if you're using anything else, it must be giving you an advantage, and therefore they're illegal. But as I say, I've got nothing to prove that on. So if you're in any doubt and you want to try out mods, because mods do help. Now, whatever it says about giving you an advantage, mods give you an advantage. There's no doubt about it. Sometimes they give you too much of an advantage, so there's a bit of an overkill on the information you receive from them, but they always give you something more than the average player gets. Whether that just, and generally it's just information. But if you have information, what's the saying? Information is king, and if you, or data is king. If you know more about what's going on, you can make a better and more informed decision. So, if you're worried about using mods, and you're worried about getting illegal mods, safest place to go and look for mods is actually on the World of Tanks forum itself. So you can see here, there's a whole section on mods. And most of the people who make the mods, and most of these people are just normal players who create the mods to help them do what they want to do in the game, they will often post the latest update of mods on the forum, so you can go to them directly. There's another, oh no, wrong one, sorry, there's another one here, World of Tanks mods and add-ons. Again, talks you through what's available. So if in doubt, go to there, because the chances are if somebody's gone to the trouble of putting out their details and their mods on the World of Tanks website or forum, then it's going to be a legal mod, and therefore using it is not a problem. Now, the other thing to be aware of with mods is that whenever there is a significant patch, and even sometimes when there's not a significant patch, it will generally wipe out the mods that you are running, and you will need to download the latest version of the mods to make it work again. So we just had an upgrade last couple of days for this 100 years of tanks. The actual game itself has not changed, apart from the garage where the tanks start from has changed, and there is a new convoy game mode has come in. But the actual game itself didn't change, but it wiped out all the mods that people were running. So we're having to reload any mods that you want to have. Now, everybody will have their personal preferences, and I would certainly recommend that you try a few out. You go and have a look at them and see what you like, because they all offer different things, and it really depends on what you're looking for to which ones you should load. So as well as the official forum, if you just do put World of Tanks mods in a Google search, you'll also find pages like this one. So this is World of Tanks mod packs. This is the latest version of the game, 915.2. And there's another one, the Curse site, also lists all sorts of mods here, individual mods and then pack mods. So there again, there are effectively two different types of mods you can get. You can get those in a sort of a bundle, so things like Aslanes. Who else we got here? Let's see. Let's go here. So these, this mod pack here from a Russian guy, another mod pack there from Aslan's here, Jove's another one, Webiums, all these guys, and one from Quickie Babe. All these ones are packs, so they will have multiple modifications within them, and in some cases you can choose which ones you want to use and which ones you don't want to use when you're installing them. So that's a good thing. And so why wouldn't you want to use all the mods that are available on your computer? Well, that's a very good question. I'm pleased you asked. Well, the reason why you wouldn't is that they do impact on the performance of your computer. They will, in most cases, slow the frame rate and the ping on your game. In some cases, they will crash your game, so you have to be very, very careful with installing them. So again, I would always recommend you talk to other players and you find out which mods they're using and which ones they're having problems with, because it does vary, and with different patches I found that some mods work better than others. So for a long time I used Webiums, and then I found that I kept getting game crashes, and so I swapped to another one called Solo, which you can't even see here, which I also liked very much. However, Solo didn't seem to update with the last but one patch, or mini patch, and so I then moved on to who do I go for? I forget now, but another one. And so you move around all over the place, and there's nothing to stop you doing that. So what do you do? Well, let's have a quick look at some of these different ones and maybe download something. So I did just check actually, it's Webiums I'm running at the moment, so I'm going to stick with Webiums because actually they're pretty good. So I'm going to click on this link here. Takes me into the page about them. You can see here this site goes into details about what you get, and this is the installer that comes with it. So you can see that there's lots of options, lots of changes you can make to how the game looks and feels, even down to some fairly wacky stuff around the garage if that is what you fancy. So one thing to say, don't be tempted to, so make sure when you're doing this you've got a decent antivirus or some sort of PC security. Now, I'm not saying any of these particular mod makers are up to anything dodgy, but you do hear stories of them less than what's the word? There's some decent sites that host mod packs and mods that will also download something that you don't necessarily want. The other thing to be careful of is where it says start download here. This is not for the mod. It looks like that's the mod, but it's not. This is for this from drpdf.com thing. So just be really careful where you click on these pages. So generally you will find right down the bottom where there's been multiple attempts to try and get you to click, you will find something like this. Webium WOT 0914.2 modpack installer.exe. Obviously there's a bit of trust here when you do this, so I'm clicking on this. We'll see, and we'll just let it download, and I'll be back once that's finished. Okay, so that has downloaded. It's downloaded the exe file. Now I know people can get nervous about using exe files, and rightly so. You've got to be really careful, but that's why I say go to a trusted site, download from a trusted site, make sure you have your firewall and your antivirus up to date before you do any of this. Now the reason why I use an installer is that I just find it's so much easier to install what you need to install. You can individually load mods, and in fact if you go and look at Quickie Babe's videos when he does his mod packs, he will show you very easily how to install. So I recommend that. I just find this pack is so much easier. So you've got here all different installation languages. Obviously I'm going to stick with English because I barely speak that, but that's better than my Croatian or Russian, that's for sure. Welcome to the Webium's mod pack setup. So here we go. Click yes. So here goes. It tells you what you're about to download. It tells you all the changes that have been made. It tells you where it's going to install it. And here we go. Here's into the meat of the thing. So it recommends a clean install. Well, I would always suggest that because there's less chance of any conflict with anything you've already got in the game. You've got all sorts of options here, and you can scroll through this to your heart's content, and you will find as time goes by these mods get updated, so more of these things come online. When the mods are first in action, less of these functions are there. They'll be greyed out, but as you move forward, as the patch is in the game longer, you'll find more and more of these mods come into effect. So you've got various things. You've got colour scales around based on the performance of players. You've got things like which Sixth Sense logo you want to come up. I like the Sauron's Eye. I think that just works for me. You've got sounds that come up when the Sixth Sense comes up. So in my case I have the buzzer plus a 10-second timer, because 10 seconds is how long it takes to disappear off people's maps when you are spotted. So once you've been spotted, you know after 10 seconds if you manage to get back into concealment that you won't be spotted, that you haven't been spotted anymore. Different types of crosshairs depending on what your style is, what you like. Don't know why I've got that one. I might change it to that one. I quite like that one. And you can see along here also it gives you, oops, sorry, doing your eyes in by flicking through pictures. It will show you the size of the files that are going to be downloaded. So if space is a premium for you, then you may want to go for a 0.21 rather than a 1.1 meg download. Your choice. And you can see here there's a number that haven't been updated yet for the new patch, so they're greyed out. Different things like gun constraints, up to you if you like that. Damage panels, a lot of these haven't been done yet, but you can see here it tells me what damage I have done to enemy. No, is this one I've done to enemy or received? I think this might be received damage, so yeah, I think that is. And there's various things you can modify. The little emblem down the bottom left side, I don't know what you call it, which shows you where what modules have been damaged, what crew have been damaged, and this is all personal preference. I like to have a log of what damage I've received and from whom. I find that really helpful. It doesn't give me a huge advantage to the game, but it's useful. If nothing else, you will see when you are being fired at with premium ammunition, and you know that if someone's firing gold at you, then you probably shouldn't go poking that corner anymore, because chances are gold round will come right through your front plate despite all the angling you do. So that's something that it does help with. accuracy indicator, so that's where it's coming from, so where the shell is coming from. This one I never use, but it tells you if you've got auto indicator set on. So that's, you know, when you're circling an enemy tank, or you are about to you're coming into contact with an enemy tank, and you right click with your cursor on them, it will auto lock onto them. As you move, the gun will continue to stay locked on the center of his mass. It's not the same as the auto aim bot program which you can get, which basically moves around on the enemy tank and tries to find the weakest spot to pen them. This one just locks into central mass. But a lot of players use it, particularly useful if you're doing derp guns, or you're in a medium or a light and you're circling the enemy team. Very useful. The extended one I think just looks ugly, but that's, you know, your choice. What else we got? I won't go through all these, but you can see there are loads and loads of options here, and you can just select what you like. It tells you what your team, I will put that one on, so that tells you what the team's hit point pool is like. Enemy direction indicator. I'm going to turn that one off because I find that one quite distracting. So that gives me arrows to show me where the enemy are. It gets a bit annoying. Reload timer. Sometimes that's useful. I'm going to put that on. So that tells me when an enemy has fired at me. It tells me roughly, and it's not 100% accurate, but it tells me roughly when they will be reloaded, which is a very big useful thing. This tells me what damage I've done and what I need to do to get a high win rate. Big if you're into that kind of thing. I don't know why I even bother with that, because I'm not really interested in win rate particularly. I just like the games. In fact, I will turn that off because it's pointless really. What else we got here? There's various skins you can put on the tanks. So this one I don't like. I think it shouldn't be allowed, but it shows you where weak spots are on the enemy tank. So you can see in the image there, you can see where the shells are stored, you can see where the chances of fires are higher. I think that shouldn't be allowed, but it is a big upgrade though. Look, 200 meg to put that one in. This one similarly shows you where you need to hit, and there's various versions of that. White tanks to show where dead tanks are. For those of us who run into dead tanks, sometimes that's useful. I think it just spoils the look of the game, so I don't tend to use that. White tracks to show when somebody's been tracked. Train wagons, so forth. Visible tracks. I use this one because sometimes I do run into the tracks by accident, so that at least for this one makes it slightly more viewable. This one I think again makes the game look ugly, but you can put a sticker on it to show where it's received damage. Green being bounced, red being penned. If you lose control of where the borders is of the map, then you can add that in. Safe shot, that stops you firing at your friends. Should really have that set up. So that means that if there is a friendly in the way and you click the button, it will stop the gun firing. So it stops team damage basically. Now if they are further away and they happen to run across the shot when you fired, it won't stop that happening. So you still will get that, but it means you can't either deliberately shoot the enemy, your friends, or you can't accidentally if they run in front of you, right in front of you. Hotkeys, so that just tells you which ones you need to press. Extra zooms on your gun if you'd like that sort of thing. Binoculars to save, I don't know why you'd have that. Battle Assistant, that's the artillery mod, so that's the one where you look down from above. Free camera, I'm going to put the free camera in because it will help with some of my filming when I'm videos. You can do, there's various mods around sounds, I don't bother with those. Mods around the hangar itself, so auto equip I find a very useful one. So that means if you have binoculars for instance on a tank, but you when it comes back into the garage it will put them back into the kitty almost, and then next time another tank goes out it'll automatically put them by, it'll remember that you used binos last time and it'll put them back on. Clock in the garage, in the hangar if that's what you want. Session stats, this is a useful one. Shows you basically how well you've done since you've been online that day or that through your sessions. So it gives you a breakdown of how much damage you've caused, how your win rate's going, how many tanks you've killed, and so forth. So that's useful. Various other, you can change the style of the thing, you can change crews, all sorts of stuff here. Replay manager, I don't tend to use this because I'm pretty good at just and it just stores everything, and I'd rather not bother. But there, if you're not very disciplined at storing your games, then your replays, then that's another option for you there. Carousel highlighting. So you can see basically, you know, there are all kinds of options here you can select. And once you've chosen what you want, you just click next, and then next again. Now these are another options that come up. So you have various things like colorblind option, which I have just in case any of my viewers are. Carousel, so if you've got a lot of tanks, you can leave them in one rank as they come, or you can have 2 or 3, all that kind of thing. Display the win rate on the tank, display the average damage, marks how much you need to get mark of excellence, and so forth. Markers above tanks, all this sort of stuff. So again, more options if you want them, and you can scroll down, select what you want, and then you get to the install button. So there you go, click install. Now, obvious thing to say again on the install is that you can't have the game running while you're doing this, so make sure that it's switched off and you're logged out, and then it's as simple as that. And there you go. I won't visit any of these mods, but there you go. So when I go into the game, let's fire it up. Oops, don't want to test. Let's do that one. We should have all those mods loaded into our game, and that will help us no end. So here we go. So one of the other bonuses of the Webiums mod pack is that it loads the game automatically. So automatically when you click in, you don't have to click connect or anything else like that. It does it for you. Now you can deselect that if that annoys you. So I'm not particularly pushing Webiums. I just happen to use that personally, so that's what I'm reloading into the game for myself. There are some really good ones out there, and I would thoroughly recommend you talk to other players. You have a look on some of the forums, you see what people are saying about the mods and what they rate them for. Also look at which you get this reward thing even though you've done it when you re-log in, when it's a new mods are loaded. Yeah, so talk to other players, see what they like and what they dislike, see what they see what different mods are offering, and see which ones you really feel you need and which ones you don't need. As I say, I wouldn't put too many in because A, you get information overload, but B, it will, unless you're running a really good computer, you've got a really good gaming computer, it will slow the performance of your game, and obviously that's not ideal. So you can see now I've got two ranks of tanks. I've also got lots of data on the tanks themselves, so I can see what my win rate is, I can see how far I am from my mark of excellence on this tank, average damage I think that is, average experience, so forth. So yeah, so that's all good. I think it was the only option I chose in the garage that will show up, but the rest of them will show up in the game itself. So there you go. That was a quick look at mods. As I say, I'm not particularly pushing Webiums. That's just the one I happen to be using at the moment, but I am a bit of a mods tart, and I will move around as and when I see something that's good, or I just get fed up with the one I've got, or it starts doing things to my PC which I don't like. So, but I would certainly recommend it. It probably is worth you having a backup of the files on your computer before you load one in, because if anything goes wrong, you don't want to have to sit hours waiting for the entire game to reload, because you'll have to start again. So you know, be conscious of that, and be safe on the sites you visit for mods. As I said, try and go to them via the World of Tanks forum, or go via one of the sort of recognized mod sites. Be careful if you just do a Google and it brings up a mod, just careful on clicking links. You know, internet's a dangerous place, and web security is something you have to take very, very carefully. So always make sure you got your firewall and your antivirus up to date before you do anything like this. So, and switched on, obviously. Anyway, hopefully that was useful to you. I know people, particularly newcomers, mods are a bit of an unknown feature, and it took me a long time to realize that people were driving around with these mods on their vehicles that actually help, even though the rule is that it shouldn't do anything to give you an advantage. Clearly some of these mods do, some of them more so than others. So yeah, anyway, Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider giving it a like, and maybe you can click on the subscribe button, and then you'll get more content as and when I produce it, and get notified when new videos are on YouTube, which is on a fairly regular basis. I try and post videos at least 5 times a week, subscribe and you won't miss a thing. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, say click like, and I will see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your games, have fun. It is just a game and it is designed to be fun, so make sure you enjoy it. Don't take it too seriously. See you again soon.